Hello my friends all over the world, wherever you are. Today I'm going to make another garden harvest juice with my favorite green vegetable, French sorrel, about 2 dozen Anaheim peppers, and a number of other ingredients from my garden. Let's take a look at those ingredients. In addition to my Anaheim peppers and my French sorrel, I have carrots, of course. I have 1 Armenian cucumber, 6 other regular cucumbers, some yellow squash, 1 bell pepper, 3 large zucchinis, 160 grams of ginger, 1 medium-sized beet, 1 container of tomatoes, garlic, and 150 grams of turmeric. So let's make some juice. Now, as usual, I'm going to put on my near zero blowback cutter, which has over 80 teeth cut into the 5 blades of the cutter. This is a modification anyone can get. If you send your cutter to me, I'll modify it for you. So I'll put the cutter on, and you'll notice that I'm using the front-loading feed tube. Not only does the front-loading feed tube eliminate blowback almost 100%, with the cutter it shreds produce 40 degrees Fahrenheit cooler. So what I'm going to do now is take 3 or 4 ice cubes, and I'm going to cool down my cutter. We've had a heat wave here in sunny Southern California with over 100 degrees, and it's been very hot, so I'm going to cool down my cutter and my feed tube. Now the first greens that I'm going to do are my French sorrel, and I want to point out again that because the cutter does such a good job, you'll be tempted to put a large handful of produce in. Don't do that. Less produce is more effective. So let's start with the greens. So there we go. More French sorrel. And you'll notice what a good job it does doing greens. Now watch this, just like a hot knife through butter. Now this time I'm going to alternate my greens with turmeric and beets and other produce, but we're up to 24 degrees, so 3 more ice cubes. Slowly with the ice cubes, because you want the heat, the cold, to transfer to the cutter and feed tube. Now for some turmeric. More Anaheim peppers. And some more French sorrel. Now I'll do my ginger. I'll follow that with some cucumbers. I'm adding carrots early because I have way too much produce. I'm going to put some of this, after I mix the carrot in, into this bowl. So what I'm going to do now is mix this, and then I'm going to transfer some of this mixture into this bowl and continue with the rest of my greens. So what I'm going to do now is use a 4-cup container to transfer some of this pulp into this other container. Then I'm going to continue with the rest of my produce. Anaheim peppers, 1 beet, more peppers. I have 1 green bell pepper, so I'm going to quarter it and feed that in. Next I'm going to switch to carrots, but first I want to switch grids. But before I switch grids, I'm going to put 2 carrots through. Just to clear out most of those greens. And let me give you a little tip. Because greens clog the grid often, you're going to be tempted not to clean it because you want to get through. You want to get done with your juicing, but resist that temptation. Clean your grid often. Now, I was using the J grid with 3/16 inch diameter holes. I'm going to set that aside and switch to 1/8 holes for carrots because that does a better job on carrots. Now let's do the rest of my carrots. Notice how the pulp comes out. And carrot is an excellent pulp to absorb that juice. And notice how the carrot pulp absorbs all that juice. My last carrot. Now I want to point out one thing I love about this front loading feature. But I can see in here and I can see if there's produce shred or not. And even if it looks like there's not, there's usually a plug of carrot or other produce down here. So what I'm going to do is put in a couple of handfuls of pulp. I'm going to force that last plug through. And now I'm going to mix this produce, clean my feed tube and my grid, and then make some juice. Now, as you can see, my collection bowl is almost overflowing, so I'm going to have to mix this very carefully. I don't want it to overflow. I'm going to mix this in both directions to get a really good mix, a nice homogeneous mix. And I'm going to use my glove to clean the rim. And then we'll begin making juice. Now I'm going to demonstrate my 6-cloth less work method, and later I'm going to show you how we can get 10% more juice using the Whole Health Foundation Premium Juicer with that solid plate. And if you're running a business, an extra 10% of profit, I think that's significant. And even if you're just making it for your family, it's pretty significant to get 10% more for you and your children. So 3 scoops, and we're going to fold this in thirds like so, pat it down a little bit, a little crease at the back to enable it to fold better. And these first 2 cloths are going to go into the press, centered left to right, centered front to back, adjusted if need be, all the way back, back it off a little bit, turn on the machine, and we'll continue. 3 scoops in each cloth. Now on the last cloth, advance that all the way. Here's my 6-cloth less work method. This goes forward, this goes over, the spent cloths go on top, 2 more cloths into the press, centered left to right, centered front to back, all the way back, back it off a little bit, and we'll continue. Now you do not throw away the spent pulp. What you do is put 2 scoops, not 3, on top of the spent pulp, like so. Flatten that, set it aside. When you're on your last cloth, advance that a little bit more, maybe even all the way. Again, 2 more scoops on top of the spent pulp. The tighter the better. Flatten it, set it aside. When you're on your last cloth, advance it all the way. Keep your eye on the bowl. Like I said, it's getting very, very full. And again, you do not throw away the old pulp. What you're going to do is put 2 scoops on top of the spent pulp. Fold the cloth over. Release that. Now, again, this goes forward, that goes over. The spent cloths go on top. Now, to prevent this from dripping on the countertop, what I'm going to do is put the tray back, but not a little, a lot. You want it to be very, very obvious. So now let's fill some bottles. Now I'm filling these bottles from the back side just so the camera gets a good angle. And notice I'm leaving about 10% because for me, what I'm going to do is fill the bottles with distilled or filtered water. I'm going to top them off. When you're on your last cloth, advance that all the way. As tight a package as you can make, remember that. This goes forward, that goes over, the spent cloths go on top. Centered left to right, centered front to back, all the way back, back it off a little bit. Now, because I have puddling in the bowl, what you do with your old pulp is take it out of the cloth, crush it up, and put it in the puddle of juice to absorb that juice. Now we're going to put 3 scoops of pulp into this cloth, as though we're starting from the beginning. Again, we're going to take this pulp, put it in the puddle of juice in the bowl, and start again with 3 scoops of pulp. When you're on your last cloth, advance that all the way. Now there's the last of my juice packets, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to repackage this by forming it into a very, very tight package, a very tight ball almost. And then I'm going to use a special packaging technique by folding the ends under 2 or 3 or 4 times, as many times as I can. And I'm going to do that in both directions on all these cloths. And then I'm going to use a measuring beaker to measure how much more juice we can get from the spent pulp that most people would throw away. So let's continue repackaging. Now my friends, as you can see, I have 3 double packets of repackaged pulp. This is pulp that most people would throw away. And I'm going to use a measuring beaker to demonstrate how you can, with the Whole Health Foundation Premium Juicer with the solid bottom plate, how you can get 10% or more juice from your already spent pulp. And this last pressing has the most valuable nutrients. So there we have our first set of 2 packets, centered left to right, centered front to back, all the way back. And as soon as I get juice flow, I'm going to back that off because I don't want this to go up too fast. So I'll back it off a little bit. Advance it a little more. And as soon as I determine I have traction, I'll advance this all the way. Well, there we have 11 ounces so far, and we still have 2 more packets to go. There's 16 ounces. Well, there's 19 ounces, and the container's getting very, very full. So I'm going to put that into the collection bowl. And my collection bowl is full too, so let's put it in bottles. Now here we have another 10 ounces of juice from repackaging the pulp. And now you see it's droplets instead of a steady stream, so we're going to stop here so this video's not too long. Turn that off. Well, from this session you can see I got 5, 10, 15, 20, 22 bottles of juice and enough for a taste test. and at least 2 of these bottles were from pressing the already spent pulp. And let's do a taste test. Well, my friends, here we have another Garden Harvest juice, and this time a lot of Anaheim peppers and my favorite green French sorrel. So let's give it a taste. Oh, delicious. I can definitely taste the pepper. A little hint of the Anaheim pepper, the French sorrel, and a very, very tasty juice. Well, I hope you like what you've seen, my friends, and if you do, please tell a friend. If you'd like to call me, my phone number is 760-753-0321. My email is developtrust@cox.net, and my webpage is wholehealthfarm.com. And if you'd like to buy a premium juicer, give me a phone call or send me an email. And I hope you like what you've seen. I'll see you in the next video.